Here's something that might shock you. While other streaming platforms are playing it safe with their Halloween content, Peacock just dropped what could be the most ambitious and potentially overwhelming horror collection we've ever seen. Brace yourself, because this Halloween season is about to get seriously intense. Peacock has just announced their 2025 horror streaming extravaganza. And honestly, it's so massive it might actually break your decision-making abilities. We're talking about a collection so vast that you could literally watch horror content every single day from now until Christmas and still not finish everything. But here's where it gets controversial. Is more actually better when it comes to horror content? Some critics argue that this content overload is killing the art of carefully curated scares. Others say it's democratizing horror like never before. Let's dive into what Peacock has unleashed upon us horror fanatics. The spooky season kickoff that's already here. If you're the type who starts celebrating Halloween in September, and honestly, who isn't these days? Peacock has already started feeding your addiction. Right now, you can sink your teeth into Screamboat, which is currently streaming and causing quite the stir among Disney horror fans. But that's just the appetizer. Coming up fast, Abigail drops on September 19th, promising to deliver some seriously twisted thrills. Mark your calendars for September 26th, because that's when M3GAN 2.0 makes its exclusive streaming debut, along with the unrated version for those who like their scares with extra bite. And if you're a M. Night Shyamalan enthusiast, Knock at the Cabin starts streaming September 24th. But here's the thing that most people miss. September is just the warm-up act. October is when Peacock truly goes nuclear with their horror offerings. The October horror explosion that changes everything. Starting October 1st, Peacock is essentially turning into a horror lover's paradise, or nightmare, depending on your perspective. The lineup they're dropping is so comprehensive, it's almost intimidating. We're talking about everything from psychological thrillers to slasher classics, family-friendly frights to absolute nightmare fuel. The October 1st wave includes heavy hitters like American Psycho and its sequel, the cannibalistic romance of Bones and All, and the supernatural thriller Brightburn. Classic franchises get major representation with the complete Friday the 13th collection, parts 1, 2, and 3. The entire Leprechaun saga, yes, all 6 movies including the Space Adventure and Hood Chronicles, and iconic titles like The Crow, Edward Scissorhands, and the original Ghostbusters films. But wait, there's more controversy brewing here. While purists celebrate seeing classics like The Omen, 1976, and The Wolfman, 1941, alongside modern hits, some argue this mixing of eras dilutes the impact of each film. What do you think? Does variety enhance or diminish the horror viewing experience? Family-friendly options aren't forgotten either, with Goosebumps, 2015, Monster House, and Tim Burton's Corpse Bride ensuring that younger viewers can join the spooky fun without nightmares. Mid-October surprises that keep the momentum going. Just when you think you've processed the October 1st avalanche, Peacock drops 2 more strategic bombs. October 15th brings Don't Breathe, the claustrophobic thriller that redefined home invasion horror. Then October 16th delivers The Cabin in the Woods, the meta-horror masterpiece that either brilliantly deconstructs the genre or completely ruins it for traditional horror fans, depending on who you ask. The existing horror empire you might have missed. Here's what's absolutely mind-boggling. All these October editions are joining an already staggering collection of horror content that's been quietly building on Peacock. We're talking about modern masterpieces like The Black Phone, Candyman 2021, and Nope, sitting alongside cult classics like The Birds, Psycho, and Night of the Living Dead. The streaming service has created something unprecedented, a horror library that spans from 1935's The Raven to 2024's latest releases. Franchises are represented in their entirety. Every Child's Play film, the complete Phantasm saga, both old and new versions of classics like Firestarter and even controversial entries like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Both parts, because apparently one wasn't enough. Frankly, the scope is overwhelming. You've got psychological horror, The Sixth Sense, Donnie Darko director's cut, body horror, The Thing, both versions, supernatural scares, The Conjuring universe entries, slasher films, Terrifier trilogy, Scream franchise, and even horror comedies, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, all under one digital roof. The big question nobody's asking. But here's what's really interesting and potentially problematic. Is Peacock creating the ultimate horror destination, or are they contributing to content fatigue? When you have access to literally hundreds of horror films, does individual movie magic get lost in the shuffle? Some horror enthusiasts argue that this abundance actually devalues the experience. When everything is available instantly, nothing feels special anymore. Others counter that democratizing access to both mainstream blockbusters and indie gems creates opportunities for discovery that never existed before. There's also the quality versus quantity debate. While Peacock offers everything from certified classics to direct-to-streaming releases that some critics consider barely watchable, the platform seems to operate on the philosophy that horror fans can curate their own experiences. What this means for your Halloween plans? Let's be practical here. Unless you're planning to quit your job and dedicate your entire existence to horror consumption, you're going to need a strategy. This collection is so vast that decision paralysis is a real risk. The smart approach might be to focus on specific themes or franchises rather than trying to sample everything. Want a slasher marathon? The Friday the 13th and Scream collections have you covered. Prefer psychological scares? American Psycho, The Sixth Sense, and Knock at the Cabin offers cerebral chills. Looking for something the whole family can enjoy? Monster House, Goosebumps, and The Book of Life provide age-appropriate thrills. The streaming wars just got scarier. What Peacock has accomplished here is essentially throwing down the gauntlet in the streaming horror wars. While competitors focus on original content or exclusive deals, Peacock has gone for pure volume and variety. It's a bold strategy that either positions them as the ultimate horror destination or spreads them too thin to compete with more focused offerings. The real question is whether this approach serves horror fans or overwhelms them. In an era where choice paralysis is already a recognized phenomenon, does having access to every possible horror subgenre enhance the viewing experience or diminish it? So here's my challenge to you. Dive into this massive collection, but don't let the abundance paralyze you. Pick a starting point, whether it's a classic you've never seen or a modern hit you want to revisit, and begin your journey through Peacock's horror universe. What do you think about this content explosion? Are you excited about having this many options? Or does the sheer volume feel overwhelming? Do you believe streaming platforms should focus on curated quality or comprehensive quantity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious whether horror fans see this as the ultimate gift or the beginning of choice overload in the streaming age.